What's up, everybody? Michael Massie here
And this is Jared Haas.
on behalf of Frontstretch.com. We got something special for you today. We're in Hueytown, Alabama, where the Allison family resides. This house, that's the house that the Allison family lived in for 60 years or so, and it's for sale now. What are your thoughts as we look upon this property, Jared?
It's definitely a unique NASCAR history. Usually you have North Carolina as the capital of racing. There's a lot of historic venues there, but having in this small town of Hueytown, Alabama, even though it's outside of Birmingham, it feels a very small town feel. And it's definitely in this tiny little cul-de-sac. You don't realize how much history was made here with the garages, with Bobby Allison's garage, and then the Busch Series garage as well too. So, this is such a unique little piece of history that people, like I said, that Bobby Allison was here for many years, Davey and Clifford as well. So, definitely a unique experience.
Well, we don't want to waste your time too much. You don't want to hear us talk. Let's look at the house.
The property where NASCAR Hall of Famer Bobby Allison and his son Davey and Clifford not only lived, but also prepared many race cars out of there is now for sale. Located in Hueytown, Alabama, the property features roughly 5 acres, 2 homes, 2 large 2-story garage structures, and a pond. Bobby Allison and his wife Judy moved there in 1969 and raised their 4 kids there. The garages served as the place where Bobby ran his short track cars out, as well as some of his occasional NASCAR Cup Series driver-owner efforts. When Davey Allison's career got going, his NASCAR Busch Series, now NASCAR Xfinity Series team, operated out of one of those garages. When Bobby Allison moved to the Charlotte area in the 2000s, he left the Hueytown property to his daughter Bonnie, who raised her own family there.
All right, we're now joined by Bonnie Allison, the daughter of Bobby Allison, brother or sister of Davey and Clifford. First, you've lived in this house for most of your life. What's it been like to be here?
Well, we moved here in 1969 when I was 7. And then, as life progresses, moved away a time or two and was able to come back and live here since 1997. So it's been amazing to be able to grow up here and then allow my kids to grow up here.
That's awesome. And as you can see, we're now in the basement of the home, which Bobby turned into a bar, hangout lounge area. What would you describe this area as?
Well, let's clarify. It wasn't really a party room. Oh, yeah. It was a Christmas. We would have Christmas parties here. Most of the people that hang out here were us as teenagers and our friends. Oh, really? Yeah, we had a lot of fun down here.
Now, did Bobby ever? Did any fellow NASCAR drivers or anything ever come over or hang out down here, or was it mainly just a family area?
Mainly a family area, and I'm sure that during the Christmas events, probably like Red Farmer, Neil Bonnet, and then family, of course, hang out here. I don't remember honestly back that far to know if there was any. In particular, there is a chance that Marty Robbins may have been down here. So that's pretty special.
That's pretty cool, and especially with there being a piano here, a nice fireplace behind us. There's a trophy display case over there. What was it like down here? What all did it have?
So the display cases got put in 1981 when my mom did some major renovations because my dad had so many trophies. She needed a place to overflow what was down at the race shop. And honestly, it was pretty cool because people would come by, stop to visit at the race shop, and then they would get a tour of the basement trophy cases.
And the spiral staircase, that's a big throwback there. I heard I understand that's the original carpet. Is that correct?
Well, that was a 1981 revision. Okay. Originally, the stairs came where the bookcases, trophy cases are now, on the other side over here. And so when she did the renovations and they turned the upstairs into a master suite, the double garage upstairs is a master suite, the staircase had to go somewhere else, and that was the best place they found for it.
So now we're at a different part of the cul-de-sac here, and I believe over here was the first shop. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the big building behind me was where Dad's first shop that he built. And he also even dug this pond out behind us by himself with a little bit of help from some friends. And then the second building was built later.
Okay, and what? So what he was driving, through the '60s and '70s. He was racing for different teams. He raced for, I know, like Junior Johnson, Bud Moore. So what was going on here while he was racing for those teams?
So his own cars would be ran out of these shops here in Hueytown. This one, and there was one a couple miles away. In the 80s, he and Davey ran their short tracks out of here, but the bigger teams were always out of North Carolina.
Okay, and you talked to me a little beforehand about like the office situation. Do you want to explain that again?
So originally, Dad and his brother-in-law had the back offices, and they could look over through the window down into the main shop and make sure everything was going well. And then my mom and his sister took turns being his secretary. So it was a big family event.
Okay, and they do everything here, right? They do the whole chassis, and they do the engines downstairs. How many people would be working here at any given time?
So I think between family and friends, we could have 10 people on the payroll at one time, maybe a little more, but a lot of them were weekenders too. So it was a hopping place at one time.
All right, and we're down here specifically at this location where not necessarily there's tracks nearby, but you have to break in an engine somehow. And you were telling us about the story about having this airplane engine breaking in these engines out here near the lake. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so my dad designed a dyno using an airplane propeller, and it was kind of cool to come down here and watch that thing spinning around.
And then obviously not tracks nearby. I mean, there wasn't like a track next door, but what tracks would the Allisons would start off racing at if they wanted to break in engines with that type of stuff?
So I think those engines were mostly for like tracks like Talladega, Daytona, things like that, because it was later in the 80s when he built that.
So now we're around the backside of the original shop, and if you notice a trailer there, it's because racing is still going on out of here. The Alabama gang is still active, right?
Yeah, well, the third generation, sort of, but the Alabama gang, original Alabama gang, is Dad, Uncle Donnie, and Red. So we got to be careful who we call the Alabama gang. Okay. So, but it is one of the Alabama gang members' grandsons running out of here right now, who is Lee Burdett. So it's kind of neat that it's been intertwined. Farmers and Allisons have been intertwined since the beginning.
So you still got the smell of oil, radiating through this place, right? Is that nice to have?
Yes, it's sound when he cranks that motor up, brings back lots of memories.
One of the interesting things on the Bobby Allison property is this paint booth area. As you can see with these doors, there's holes on the door. That's where the car was painted, and the EPA regulated that fumes don't shoot up straight from the garage area, but instead Bobby Allison Racing decided to have the holes for the fumes go out on the side instead of the top. So this is one of the other buildings on the property as well. A unique history shows the contrast between today's paint schemes to the yesteryears.
Back in front of the house. Now, a bittersweet moment. You guys are selling the property. What is the feeling? How bittersweet is this?
It's a catch-22 for sure. You hate to have to let it go, but at some point you realize that it's just getting to be too big. Your kids have moved on. Racing, the third generation, second generation didn't really go where we thought it was going to go. And since there's no Allison third generation to carry on the legacy, it's time for somebody else to come in here and love it.
Bobby Allison took the checkered flag first in the 1971 Myers Brothers 250 at Bowman Gray Stadium on August 6, 1971. He received the trophy and the first place money, but was never officially credited with the win because he was driving a Grand American Series car and not a Cup car. NASCAR used the Grand Americans to fill out the field some weeks back then. This wouldn't be a problem, except that other drivers who won Cup races in Grand American cars, such as Tiny Lund, were credited with their wins. Second place Richard Petty, driving a Cup car, was not credited with the win either, and it stands as the only race in NASCAR's 75 years without an official winner. Allison is currently credited with 84 Cup Series wins, and the Bowman Gray win would put him at 85. A recent article on Frontstretch.com pleaded for NASCAR to award Allison with his 85th win this offseason, and daughter Bonnie agrees.
A big article we had was about Bobby Allison's 85th win, and you were talking a little bit, it's just more the respect of having 85 wins on that career accomplishment. Can you go through what that would mean if NASCAR would have awarded Bobby Allison 85th win during this offseason?
So, of course, it would be something very special to the family. We've been asking them what is behind all of that, because he obviously has the win. He had the trophy and the check. So how can you not have a win if you have the trophy and the check? I think it's more recognition from NASCAR that he has 85 wins. Everyone else already knows he has 85 wins. So it would be very special if they could finally recognize that.
Let's make it happen, Steve Phelps. I love this little nook here. I mean, it's right out of right in Hueytown, but it's still very private, very quiet back here. Just what has it been like living here all these years?
So it's taken spells. It is a very quiet, serene place, especially like in the winter months. But back in the day, it was a pretty hopping place, and it was kind of exciting to be here with action going on and off. Sometimes the race cars would get tested going up and down the road, so that was pretty cool to watch.
And the fans, of course, I know they came up back in the day. I mean, Bobby, Davey, they were larger than life when they were at their peak, right? What was that like? When the fans would come here, I mean, would it get to be a little too much at times, or how was it?
I wouldn't say that. My dad appreciates all his fans, and he's always said every autograph is a compliment. So we were always very open to fans stopping in. And since it's a private nook, it really didn't get overwhelming. So it was nice.
Gotcha. Well, this has been Bonnie Allison. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, the house is for sale, so you can check out the link for if you're interested in purchasing the Allison family home. For Jared Haas, I'm Michael Massie. Catch us next time.
Jared Haas with Frontstretch.com. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, check one of those 2 videos out that we have right beside you. Visit Frontstretch.com for more great content.